Superkickin with Steven and Greg fans, your favorite host right here, Steven A1180. Yeah, Steven A1181. The Greg one over there. Oh look, it's almost like I'm touching you. Reach out and touch someone. We are here. We are live. We are hot and sweaty. This summer is really kicking our butts. We were talking off air for a second. Went to a baseball game yesterday. 7:05 pitch time, and it was 90 something with a 100-degree index. So nothing beats a little toasty evening at the ballpark with some fireworks afterwards. So it was good. Wasn't sweating profusely, but sweated enough. So lots of backs with, you could just see where the rings were, Greg, as we were walking out of the game. So
nice.
Yeah, so good week. Started back to school. First day was Wednesday. I just shared a Facebook post that said 10 years ago, I started way back in August. So crazy how time flies. But
10 years a teacher, huh?
Yeah, well, at least in education.
Gotcha.
Had a few different jobs, but and even then it was August 7th. So it wasn't really even that late in August. But yeah, so we're back, we're going, kids are there, and yeah, we're rocking and rolling, as they say. So how was your week, Greg?
It's been good. It's been good. Actually, I'm on vacation now.
Good.
So I have my Super Friday this week, and I'm off for the next about 10 days.
Good.
And because we're starting yesterday, so this is number 2 of those 10 off the clock.
Going anywhere?
Plan a trip down to Florida, and then we'll see what other kind of shenanigans we can get into. So,
The girlfriend gonna be able to go with you or not?
yeah, sir. Yeah, just going on a business trip. I'm just tagging along and
Okay.
being her arm candy.
You'll get to do stuff fun while she's at work.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's good. So we were talking, of course, off air as well. Tomorrow is the Great American Bash for NXT. So we will predict that after our NXT talk because there's a couple things I think that caught our eyes. And then next week we'll be on SummerSlam talk. I think we'll just kind of give that all it needs, Greg, next week. So probably skipping some of the recap stuff and just giving you the latest and greatest in our predictions. If Raphael, he does have our NXT picks, NXT betting odds. So I'll put that into Superkickin with Steven and Greg Page. And we'll see if he has some odds for us next week. But I think next week, Greg, we'll just kind of call it a SummerSlam prediction show and, catch up on AEW stuff the week after. Because even AEW this week was a very interesting episode in that it just kind of was there. And I think we'll kind of agree on that. So let's get into some news and notes for WWE. It would help if I added to stream. There we go. The first one, Greg, for what it's worth, BWE claims Bray Wyatt is very near and could be cramming around SummerSlam. What I was seeing, it's him and Cody possibly, Greg. Any thoughts on the return of Bray Wyatt and possibly feuding with Cody Rhodes?
I saw parts of that we're likely to see Bray right after SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm.
I did not see the Cody part. So, not the re-entry point that I want for him. The promos would be great, and I'd be looking forward to that. But I think he is the wrong villain for this piece, because we all want to love Bray and love the character and what version of Bray are we going to get? We're going to get Fiend Bray. We're going to get Wyatt family Bray, because we're always, been calling the Wyatt Six for who knows how long, and we still haven't seen it yet, except for Uncle Howdy. So we need to see what they're going to do with this, and is it going to be, a full stable ready to go, or is this going to be him, the way it came out last time, handful of cryptic messages and a bad program. But Cody's so white hot right now. I think he's the wrong opponent for Bray, because we want Bray to come back in and want to hit the ground running, and whatever they're doing with him, whether it's a full stable or him by himself, or maybe with him and Howdy, that it gets rolling. He doesn't start taking L's right out the box, um, going against the biggest babyface in the company right now. So I think that's a bad idea if that's what they're looking at.
And I think we could put the kibosh on the White Six, Greg, because Eric Young was rumored for that, and Alexa Bliss. So there's two members that are, I think it's just that they don't know what they want to. I don't think they know what they want to do with him. I don't know if maybe he's just tired of trying to pitch things, Greg, because there was medical stuff, I guess. If we're getting the Bray when he first came back, just like trying to show who he is, I think I would be okay with him and Cody in that regard. Just straight up Bray Wyatt. But, I think he wants something bigger than that for him, like someone bigger than him for himself with Bray Wyatt. So, yeah, it should be interesting. It's also that thing where they keep, it's got to be where there's smoke, there's fire, Greg. So you got to imagine there's something planned for him, or else they want to keep talking him up. So hopefully, like you said, I don't know if Cody's the right one for him right now because you want Bray to be off on the right foot. But also at the same time, I understand Bray Wyatt might just be happy to be back doing stuff because, it's kind of been, gone. So we shall see. But on the good side of news, Greg, you will love this. Vince McMahon is now a fan of LA Knight. So there we go. Not much we can say there. LA Knight got a big win last night. Definitely was talking up BFAB in the promo as well. So we got to get LA Knight at SummerSlam in some regard, though. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. You can't leave that guy at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen, but nobody not named Cody is hotter than LA Knight right now. So, and I love it. And to leave him off would be a gross oversight. So they're going to get him in there and win the Battle Royal. Most likely, it's the easiest place to put him in.
We're getting that now.
And then have that carry over to
U.S. title.
A title match. There you go. Because I think that's what the stakes are for the Battle Royal, isn't it? The U.S. Championship, like next number one contender or something like that.
Yeah, it's LA Knight with U.S. title or nothing really. It's just that's gotta happen. So some Raw talk. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn interrupted the Judgment Day, so we did see Sami Zayn challenging Dirty Dom to an NXT North American Championship match, and Dirty Dom picked up the win. Looks like Kevin Owens is battling some bad ribs, Greg, which is, I think they kind of played that up, him getting attacked and holding the ribs. Liv Morgan is off. Actually, Liv Morgan's possibly out as well. That's why they played up her arm attack. Kind of a rough time there for a couple of injuries in the Rey Mysterio last night, Greg. That was just kind of a weird, ending to the match. So hopefully the injury bug is not hitting right now because going to SummerSlam, you hate that. But, I guess the only good thing is it's just a week away, so you can, kind of get better and, heal up for Payback and Fastlane and Survivor Series. But Dirty Dom and Sami Zayn, pretty good match. Dirty Dom, man, he's getting the old school shove him down our throats, isn't he, Greg?
Hey, he absolutely is, but I'm enjoying it. It is working. And we're seeing him improve more and more and more. He couldn't wrestle his way out of a wet paper bag when he came up with and made his debut. And now he's, putting match or holding his own in these matches. He's looking good against, the top talent, and they picked the perfect angle. So everything is perfect. His, the deadbeat dad thing with to get that heat on him and just layer and layer and layer of heat and heat and heat, and it's all working. Everybody's digging it, and we're enjoying booing him out the building every night, and he's working it. He's doing his part. He's doing the right things. He's saying the right things, and he's just that that heel that we all want to see punched in the mouth. And we tune in to watch it. So,
I,
can't hate on Dominic. He's getting shoved down our throats, but he's doing his part and it's working.
yeah. And you look at the talent he's working with. I mean, that it's definitely saying a lot for where they want him to be, sooner rather than later, as they say. So, Becky Lynch will not be tattooed, Greg. She defeated Zoe Stark. Looks like we're going to get Becky Lynch and Trish Stratus for SummerSlam. That's exactly what needs to happen. Still kind of wonder if maybe Lita shows up just, kind of even the odds. Maybe Payback could be a little, tag match to finish that out. But Becky Lynch defeats Zoe Stark. Any kind of takeaway there, Craig?
Well, to be expected.
Yeah.
Do normal shenanigans.
Cody and Brock still has no stipulation. I almost wonder if they'll do the old, referee will be lenient with rules, Greg. Because right now, there's no stipulation. I mean, we still got Monday night. So I guess if we don't see it Monday night, then yeah, they're going to play up a, ref bump or something, right, to try to, give us some more action to it. But they need some stipulation too. So, really, it's what we keep saying. We've kept saying for the past few weeks. So, nothing really to add there, right?
Yeah, I mean, same thing we've been saying, that it needs that extra little something to it, the extra stipulation. And so, I thought it was going to come this Monday, so I'll be waiting for it to happen this next Monday, because you can't have another Monday before.
And you can't give it to us like in a segment on SummerSlam. Like it needs to happen beforehand. So
right.
I was very surprised. Speaking of Shayna Baszler and speaking of stipulation, sorry, Shayna Baszler and Ronda, maybe the fight pit. Should we do that for them?
It sounds right. First women to ever go into a fight pit, and it's as close to an octagon as you're going to get, maybe, and no holds barred kind of deal, so they can actually have a kind of UFC-ish match. So it makes perfect sense for the the blow off match and Ronda's walk out the door. I think it's fitting. So
and for some
why
reason,
not with these two?
I feel like there was a SummerSlam that had the Lions Den match with Owen and Dan DeBee maybe. I think there was an old school pay-per-view that featured, kind of like a fight pit with Dan DeBee and Owen Hart maybe, or something to that regard. I felt like, or maybe I don't think it was Shamrock and Dan DeBee. I felt like they never faced each other, but I know they were kind of big UFC, WWE guys or WWF guys. But
well, Lions Den would have been Ken Shamrock, because that was his.
Was it Ken Shamrock and Dan DeBee?
Yeah, I mean, well, Shamrock's martial arts company was, well, not company, but his gym was called the Lions Den.
Okay. For some reason, I just remember at a SummerSlam in the corner of the arena, because I felt like people probably had a hard time seeing it. But my producer will have to get on, or my research team will have to help me out there. Big Bronson Reed. Apparently, Greg, the alliteration is a Vince McMahon stuff, so that's why we're getting Dirty Dom, Big Bronson, that's it. But anyways, we got Nakamura still involved there. Like we said, nobody likes Nakamura anymore. Poor Nakamura here, but not much there. How about Rhea Ripley? What's this all? What is the? I guess she's just trying to control all the women's division, right? Like, are we going to find her a tag team partner to go after the tag team titles at least, Greg?
It would make sense if she finds another vehicle for dominance, but
there's nobody really that fits. Piper maybe. That would be a good way to bring Piper Niven back, right?
On the main roster. No.
Yeah.
It would be. Yeah. I mean, on the main roster, I don't see that girl, but flipping forward to NXT and that match she had with Lyra, maybe that.
You think they're built? I was going to say, are they building up Lyra to maybe be up sooner rather than later, aren't they?
Yeah, well, considering the way Rhea is, opponents, and she actually gave her respect at the end of the match. That says something there.
And then Liv Morgan possibly injured again, so that kind of sucks because I felt like she just came back. So hopefully nothing too major there. But Apollo Crews sighting. there's a random name. Him and Tozawa hanging out in the back, but Damian Priest defeats him. Not much there, Greg. Gunther and Drew McIntyre go face to face, which just led to Drew McIntyre defeating Ludwig Kaiser. Maybe next week we'll get him and Drew and Giovanni, right?
Yep, we got to go through the gauntlet before you get to the king. So
Imperium, and then the final kind of events were Seth Rollins, Finn Balor making their match official, and the Judgment Day was taking out Rollins and Sami Zayn because they were already taken out Kevin Owens. So Judgment Day getting a lot of the upper hand, Greg. Does that make you kind of worried for Finn Balor's chances come Saturday?
Well, that's the MO, is that Judgment Day wins everything on the main shows and then loses in the pay-per-views.
He's got to win it, though. I really want Finn to win it because I just think that dynamic of him as champion and Damien as, Money in the Bank really builds up Judgment Day to win it. But it's not looking good.
Yeah, I agree. But seeing how everybody is tuned into Judgment Day, and even I've come around on them because I was like a year ago, another faction. But they've grown on you, and since they've pivoted away from Edge and onto Finn, they've become more, legitimate. If that's the appropriate word to use, it's more all equal, believable.
Right. They're all Dirty Dom is coming up, but Edge, was kind of the legit leader. There's really Rhea. Rhea's really carried them. So, how about some NXT talk? Not much with the Carmelo Hayes, Trick Williams, and Dragunov. We did see, that at the end as well. Dragunov calling out Trick Williams. They defeat Schism. I wanted to talk about Von Wagner, Greg. I thought more about this. I'm like, he's giving me Psycho Sid vibes of the mid '90s, where I don't think the crowd knows how to react to it, other than hey, give us one more time, But that's not really like he comes out, they don't know whether to cheer or boo. He does his match. He beats Javi Body. By the way, Javier is got a little more body on him, didn't he? He's a little punchier than I remember him. So I don't know if he's trying to get a little more body on him, but Von Wagner has definitely gave me some Psycho Sid vibes, Greg, with Rob Van Dam voice. So that's a very interesting mix. But what do you think the crowd should be? Should they be getting behind Von Wagner, or what should we be doing with him?
No, that's a long uphill climb for him. I'm watching it, and it was a good move to divulge the story behind, why his head is so ginormous, and actually having a medical condition that caused that weird look to his head. So that was the way you want to do it, but I would have waited till you come to the main roster and get the universe involved in it, because when it comes up to the main roster, you got to do it all over again and find another way to tell the same story.
Then again, you did it with Lacey Evans, and you ended up realizing that was a mistake. So, I don't know. There's not a lot to him. He's,
that's the problem. Yeah. He needs more character aside from, you call for a table, it gives you a table.
Exactly.
You got to go farther than that.
Yeah, like that's because the table chant happens in any match that there's an ending where they need it to do. It's not like a Von Wagner thing. So, how about Dana Brooke looking like Catwoman? She defeats Cora Jade. I did not like that aspect of it because Cora Jade's getting all the cheers, Greg, and then Dana Brooke wins. It's like, hey, yay, in a kendo stick match. So, and then we'll have a weapons match, not a weapons match tomorrow night. So, we're getting a lot of physical battles here, but Dana Brooke picks up a win, Greg.
Yeah. Yay for Dana. Okay.
The family won. They defeat Bronco Nima and Lucien Prince. And then, like you said, I thought is very interesting the respect shown by Rhea Ripley, to Lyra. But and Lyra keeps getting in these big, type of matches. So I could see her maybe coming up sooner rather than later for the main roster.
Yeah, I mean, Lyra has that kind of look that would suit a follower
Somebody.
of Rhea.
Yeah.
So I can see it. They had a great match, and a little clunky here and there, but they still had a really good, solid showing. It showed Lyra can hang, and Rhea paid the respect at the end instead of beating her brains out. So she just kind of fits. If you put her as a second female on the Judgment Day, you're like, okay, I see it. She's still already doing the all black thing with the wings and everything. So, it looked like she would fit right in there. So why would it actually need two women? But, it works for the JS more or less.
Maybe you could just have Rhea having more followers. You can have Lyra, kind of pulling in some sort of, angle really supporting her. So don't worry, Greg. We'll get to clunky women's matches on Dynamite later on. Because, man, whew, I don't know if that match between Taya and Britt was in slow motion or what. That was a clunky poop, as they say. So let's get into some predictions. Let's start at the bottom. Obviously, Dragon Lee, Nathan Frazier, Lisa Leon, and Valentino Feroz versus the Metaphor. This is the 8-person mixed tag match, Greg. We finally got Noam Dar out of his coma, whatever that was. I'm going to call for him for the win, Greg. He's going to get the win for his team to build him and Nathan Frazier up. Because, NXT loves their combining championships matches. They're undisputed type matches. So I'm calling Noam Dar for the win here. But I ultimately, I think you probably want to give that title back, that Heritage Cup back to Noam Dar. You give him some fake one, but I'm calling for Noam Dar to pick up some fluky win here to get his confidence all back, Greg.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of lame. Is that the only way to get him out of his little stupor was to give him a replica cup? Like,
it took this long for them to figure that out.
Right. So I'm going to go the other side. I'll go with Frazier, and he's just going to have to start spinning more out of control and see where that goes. So just to be contrarian, I'm taking Frazier and his crew.
How about Gable Stevenson? Sorry. I got to give myself a little pat, Greg, because I was like, they're not going to officially announce his, status because somebody's going to interrupt. Now, Baron Corbin interrupts Greg looking like Baron Corbin. There was no, that's what I was worried about. Like, what is the change of Baron Corbin? Because I feel like we're going to come with the Lone Wolf music comes, Sunday night. But this should be all Gable Stevenson, right? He's got to come out the bat and, embarrass Baron Corbin. Yeah,
I agree. I mean, Gable Stevenson, his first match, he's got to look great. For us to buy into him. A little bummed because I was liking what Baron Corbin was doing with, burning the old gimmicks and saying I'm, staying true to me.
But he has no gimmick.
You're going to see the real Baron, but it's like, okay, it's a new Baron. Then he comes out and, cuts a good promo on him, but it's, the same stuff we've been hearing for years and years and years. So it's like, okay, what's the new thing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And, we totally expect him to get smashed. Hopefully it ends up being like a good 4-star match. And he shows that, I'm going back to being, a real wrestler, not Happy Corbin and not all the stupid stuff he's been doing. And they actually have a legit match, and in losing, he can show he's changed. But I don't have any optimism that's going to happen now that there's no true metamorphosis from all the vignettes they've been doing on him.
Like I said, and that's why I was very worried about that one where it's just like he's looking at himself. Like, okay, I mean, this might be one of those, uh, I don't know. I think it's just all Gable. So now this one, Roxanne and Blair, the Weapons Wild match. So you expect, Roxanne's kind of been getting the upper hand. Nothing beats the little food, the fight in the gas station, Greg, with the. I love the guy like being world star and just filming with his phone. You know, it's his gas station. He's like, nope, not even gonna kick them out. I'm just gonna film this. But I'm gonna let you go first because I don't know which way to go with this one because either woman really needs to win.
Yeah, I think it's more of Roxanne's dark side. She's
Yeah,
been way too goody two shoes and too, nice.
yeah,
And Blair's been the person to pull that, darkness out of her. So
right.
maybe we have a Fire and Dawn type of situation where, either Roxanne goes to, the dark side and they end up becoming a team or something.
Yeah,
And she just totally character changes and does a 180 just to give us something different, like Braun Breaker did.
mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's gonna be an interesting match. I think that she enjoys being bad a little too much, and that's what comes of this. So I'm gonna call Roxanne for the win,
Mm-hmm.
and we're gonna see, the other side of her personality.
Now and then, of course, I'll go the. I'll look at the other side of that. Cora Jade is kind of playing that too. So that's where I feel like her and Tiffany. You can tell Tiffany's more. Just a mean girl type. If we have Roxanne and Cora, well, who knows? Maybe Roxanne and Cora team up. Generation Young or whatever. Try to go at it. I think I'm going to call for Roxanne too. I just think she needs to win a little bit more. Yes, Blair's been back just recently, Greg, but I kind of feel like they're going to use Blair Davenport in a gatekeeper type. Maybe pick up some wins here and there, and then we'll see if she actually, gets going. But the tag team champions of NXT versus the family. So you have Gallus versus the family. I'm going to say Gallus wins, Greg, but we do see that third member to even the odds for the family at the end of the match. Like you'll have Gallus beating them down, and then whoever this prisoner or clink member, I think they need to come out and kind of even the odds, and then we're off and running on through some 3-on-3 matches. But I don't think the family gets the titles yet. Greg, how about yourself?
I agree on all of it. I think that, like I was saying last week, is that it's easy to pull a third member because he was just in jail and
Yeah,
made some connections, in jail, and now he's going to bring him out, and that's going to be our easy third member. So I agree. We'll see a new person added because you're the family, but you're two people, so you need multiple people.
and a
Um,
perfect time at a little premium live event to kind of show
exactly.
show a new person. So, too bad Dirty
So yeah,
Dom wasn't busy, Greg. He could have been the third member, right?
right, right. He was just in the
All
yard himself. So
those 2 hours. So,
so I'm
speaking of
going to say what you say, Gallus too.
okay, sorry, yeah, Dallas. Yep. How about your call on Dominic Mysterio, Wesley, and Mustafa Ali? Does Ali finally get some gold on him, Greg?
I kind of want him to, but I don't think he's going to.
Well,
Um,
yeah, Dom's
it's too soon for in Dominic's reign, and we're not done, booing him out the NXT buildings yet. So we've crossed the globe with him with Raw and SmackDown, but the NXT galaxy is still untapped area, so they need to get in digging on that a little bit more. I think that's going to happen. So as much as we see him, love to see him take an L down in NXT. I don't think it's going to happen yet.
I kind of want Ali to win. Like, I know it's not. It's kind of bad to sound like on NXT TV. You feel like the crowd will kind of react more to it because it's in that confined space. That's kind of fits Ali's, underdog personality. I think getting that big win on NXT TV. So this is all Dirty Dom for me. Uh, Probably gets the pin on Ali. if you want to keep Wesley protected in this one. Tiffany Stratton and Thea Hale submission match. This is where we got to see, what does Tiffany have, as far as submission. Maybe she does the Kimura, just kind of even the odds. But pretty good promos by both of them. I like the sit down, video segment where you could really, produce the heck out of it, Greg. But it's also good because you can work them through that. So I think Thea Hale will be fine losing, but I want to see what Tiffany wins with. What submission does she pull out? How about yourself?
Yeah, I agree. It's like we've never seen her execute a submission move, so how is she going to win? And so that's going to be one of the big curiosities of it. I'm trying to decide if I want to pull the trigger on Thea. Yeah, 19 years old, all the potential in the world, and people are behind her.
Over as hell.
Exactly. And there's the thing about those, short title reigns. And I don't dig WWE's going into the counting days as champion business. And I get they're trying to make it look like a big deal, but if you want to make the opponents look more legitimate, you want to go into it with the attitude that any day you could lose, or like in the NFL, if given Sunday, the worst team can beat the best team.
Yeah.
Is that they're more intent on, this guy has been champion for 100 days, 200 days, 300 days. And, counting days, it's become way too overused. But it's become true. So, if it's still early in the reign, it's more likely they're not going to lose. So, that being said, I'm going to go to the contrarian and say that I want Thea to win. She's been the underdog the whole time, and doing the mean girl versus the underdog, and why not? The people would love it. It's not like Logan Paul would be winning a championship or something like that. We're gonna get somebody who's been down there and paid their dues, and facing the Queen of the Mountain and comes out on top. So it's good, feel good story right there, waiting to happen.
And like I said, I think WWE does love their taglines, youngest champion, which is funny because I thought Roxanne was, but now Thea can already surpass that. So, and like you said, I feel like in NXT there are times when they really worry about the long, lengthy title reigns. There's other times I feel like they never talk about the days. The days as champion. Like Gallus, I feel like has been champion forever now, but they don't really bring up, unless I just missed it. But so I think it would be fun to see Thea, even if it's a 72-hour title reign. She loses it right back on Wednesday night, but at least she'd have that tagline as, "Hey, I'm the youngest champion ever. I won a submission match." But I think they're gonna somehow give Tiffany the win with some sort of something we haven't seen from her. So
that being said, shout out to Sonya and Chelsea for acknowledging nobody has mentioned their 11-day title reign.
Yes,
so production needs to get on that.
I'm sure. If they were in AEW, you could just have that as their little byline, like when Hangman Adam Page had all the random bylines whenever his graphic would come up. So this one I'm really looking forward to because Dragunov, man, I really hope he gets over on the main roster, Greg, because he's got something. He's got a Daniel Bryan to him. I don't know if they'll let him get his ass kicked as much in the main roster, to where you really believe in him. But it's probably he'd be talk about a BCC member, Greg. Man, can you imagine Dragunov in there kicking butt with Bryan Danielson and John Moxley and Claudio, but Carmella Hayes is still rolling, so I don't foresee that going down the drain. So it's all Carmelo. Maybe Trick, plays a part just to build up the Dragunov Trick stuff, Greg.
Yeah, I can see it. But you know me, I've been on the Dragunov train since NXT UK, since the merger,
Yeah.
and he is probably my favorite person in NXT. Um, Carmelo close second, and you know I love it that these two are facing each other, but it's hard to pick against Carmelo. But they're doing a lot of we call it the screen tests with him
Yeah.
on the main roster and seeing, you know, what's the reaction people are getting when they put his face on the Tron. So, you know, SummerSlam is time is right. I think that he could be coming up sooner than later. You know, they had Trick and Mello with Bobby Lashley.
That's true. I did
Remember
forget
week
about that
before
aspect.
last.
Yep.
Um, I think there's something definitely in the works that I think if he's going to pass off the NXT Championship, that Dragunov would be the perfect guy.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I think because bigger things are afoot, and after SummerSlam is the perfect time to do it,
Yeah.
that I'm going to call for Dragunov to win because one, that's my guy. He's the perfect guy to pass it off to, and you know we may see a new Hurt Business for him to fall into on the main roster.
And I did forget about that aspect. We did have that short, backstage segment where Lashley, I think, was talking with Carmelo and Trick. So there you go. And obviously the Street Profits last night, looking good, looking for some new threads. So there's something there, I think. So
Yeah,
I
they
don't
were
think
saying Trick and Mello were talking up the Street Profits.
that's right. Sorry,
So
yes, yeah.
is where he's been talking to both of them, and you know Lashley's definitely up to something. So I think
Yeah,
he's trying to do her business
on the song.
MVP involved, and you know put his stable together, and they're going to be like a new Nation of Domination kind of thing. So I can see a world where Street Profits and Trick and Mello come up with Lashley, and they have that type of faction. And I would love if they actually went heel. And the way the Hurt Business works, they were all heels, but they were super over. Everybody loved to see them because they looked great. They beat up everybody, and you know
We never see
won
Street
championships
Profits in
doing
a
it.
heel role, even in
Yeah,
NXT. So, um, and Carmelo's been Carmelo was kind of an interesting tweener. I thought at the beginning, more heelish, but then him and Braun, I thought really brought out a face side of him. So,
right.
kind of interesting to see. I think it'd definitely be interesting to see the Street Profits as heels, just to let them try that side of things, and if it works out, it works out because you got to be well rounded. So, and if
Yeah,
it doesn't, you can have them get kicked out, and they're right back, back in the good graces. So, it's not really. I don't think it's a win-win situation. So,
totally agree. I mean, look what it did for the Usos.
yeah,
They started out, all happy and
yep.
neon painted and all the things, and once they went bad to the dark side and showed their evil side, they were more over than ever. So, and now they can play either side easily and just flip back and forth.
All right, next up. So some SmackDown stuff. Speaking of the Usos, we had Roman Reigns and Jey Uso, going at it, and Jey Uso did defeat Grayson Waller. Waller using the people's elbow, Greg. I think there's some, The Rock he's not busy right now, right? So maybe we could see The Rock at SummerSlam. Get him on a jet, get him a little payday since I'm sure he's losing money by the minute. Not acting right now, Greg. He might need that. He might need to go to Vince and ask for a handout right now. So I think Grayson Waller and The Rock are going to be in a little segment at SummerSlam. I think that should happen. But Jey Uso does get taken out by Roman and Solo at the end with the little Samoan spike / spear, Greg. That might give some people pause, but like we said, I think this is all Roman though, with some help by Paul Heyman. Since who knows, he's not a Samoan, so maybe he can be involved. But what do we think about Grayson Waller and The Rock crossing paths possibly at SummerSlam?
I think it would be great. It would be hilarious. Um, Grayson Waller is the perfect person for Rock to riff on,
Yeah.
and there would be so many one-liners that you'd need a 5-minute break after the segment just to let people
I guess.
calm down for a minute. Um, but those two are made for each other. Waller would get some great digs in how old he is and how bad his movies are, blah blah blah, and um, Rock could go right back at him. It would be a great 10-minute segment just back and forth because those two would be perfect for each other. And Grayson Waller talks about giving the rub, and he'd be definitely a beneficiary of the Rock rub. So um, all for it, and I hope it happens.
Santos Escobar wins because Rey Mysterio got hurt. It was hard to tell how exactly he got hurt, right? Because it looked like Escobar went for the suicide dive and Rey just kind of fell backwards. So hopefully nothing too serious for Rey Mysterio. This might be a good time when you get Carlito involved, right? Because you can have Carlito step into Mysterio's role while he's out of action, Greg. You have that veteran presence. Don't necessarily need Carlito to wrestle all the time, but we were hearing that was supposed to happen soon. But I think this would be a perfect time to bring in Carlito and kind of be the new de facto leader of the LWO. So, any thoughts on Rey Mysterio's kind of injury there, Greg, or anything you saw that might have caused it?
No, I was watching it too and wondering what happened there because it was an awkward way to end the match, and they showed the replay of him falling backwards and his head whiplashing, but I was like, is that enough to, maybe he got concussed or
Yeah, that could, yeah.
it was, an odd way. I thought maybe it was a way that you can have a winner without one of them being pinned
Yeah,
and
that's
showing that one was better than the other, even though, Ray's a legend in the game. So him beating Escobar would be no uh, disservice to Escobar.
yeah.
But the whole match was kind of weird from the way it ended. So, um, we could have aired to the side of maybe something did happen to Ray, and that's why they called it. And
Yeah.
um, probably that's who they wanted to win anyway because Escobar just beat Austin Theory. So, yeah, I think it is time for Ray to step back and kind of be the Arn Anderson of the
Yeah.
faction, and that lets the active members take care of business. And it'd be a good time for Carlito to come in and stand with Escobar and the rest of them, and just give marching orders and let them execute.
That Arn Anderson was a good kind of reference to that, Greg. Just if he needs to get into business, he will. But for the most part, he's just kind of there, you know, as a leader for them. So, your guy, my guy, LA Knight picked up a big win over Adonis. So I'm guessing he's going to go against Top Floppa next week, Greg. Just kind of, but hopefully he gets that U.S. title match soon because they need to do that. How about Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair defeating the tag team champions in a non-title match, Greg? Of course. So, any thoughts on that? And we'll kind of finish up there with SmackDown because Karrion Kross won, but man,
Yeah, nobody cares.
Nobody, yeah.
um, but hey, some good talk about riffing. Some good riffs by my dude LA Knight. Yeah, on the Hit Row guys, and calling Top Dollar Uncle Phil. That was great.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's a good shot on BFAB. So hey, he's got to win something big soon because he's getting the loudest pops of the night. I'm there loving it. So um, it's going to happen, and I'm glad I'm just able to manifest this all happening. Um, he's going to be wearing that U.S. title sooner than later. I have no doubt about it because you got to capitalize on the movement and get this guy a belt, get him that talk show I've been talking about for almost a year, and let this dude just have the stick and go with it. I was noticing some people on the in the Twitterverse,
Yeah.
on the interwebs, talking about he was stealing The Rock's gimmick. I was like, really, The Rock? And I don't see any of it. He's talks about himself a lot and brags about himself, talks about it being a megastar, but who doesn't?
Yeah.
It's and not anybody can do that. So, haters gonna hate and let LA Knight do his thing, and it's like I don't see any similarity between him and The Rock, but they're just both great on the stick. They're both great at looking at the guys in the ring and destroying them with words. So, can't hate them for that, and that's why people are in love with them right now. So there's that, and then the Charlotte and Bianca match against the Karens were fantastic. The plans, can you top this? Pretty predictable. So good episode. Told a lot of stories and just got you ready for SummerSlam.
Yeah, that is, I still think it's crazy. SummerSlam next Saturday, but yeah, we're moving ahead. So let's get our commercial talks out of the way, and then we'll get right into AEW news and notes, some Collision talk, and Dynamite, Rampage, and then kind of finish up the show for the week. So we'll get right into Rogue Energy right here, and some elite performance, and even your Rockstar Realtor, Sean Nugent. I started to say Ted Nugent, Greg. That is a whole nother ball of wax. I don't know if we'd want. I don't know if we want Ted Nugent on the as a ad for our show. That might get us a whole new audience. But yeah. So anyway,
right.
We'll move on with that comment.
Fearless Leader might like him though.
I think
What's up, Dan?
Yeah, I think a few people would.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Dan over at BWSPORTS1.com and Black and White Sports. And I'm wondering if you're ready to buy or sell that home, now's the time, and I got just the person for you. Mr. Sean Nugent, a.k.a. Rockstar Realtor himself. 317-503-8322. Put that home on the market. Get into your dream home with this man. Talk to Sean at Talk to Tucker today, 317-503-8322, and make sure you tell him the boys over at BWSports1.com sent you.
Alrighty, so we got some interesting AEW news, Greg. This first note, Fightful Select is being told that Will Ospreay will face Chris Jericho at All In at Wembley Stadium. So not Kenny Omega, which makes you wonder, what is Kenny Omega going to be doing? But Will Ospreay, Chris Jericho, Greg. Yeah. I don't know what to make of it because we know Ospreay can go. I mean, I guess it's a good test to see, can Jericho still go, right? I mean, because Jericho hasn't shown a lot lately, so if he gets Osprey, Greg, he better be able to go.
Yeah, I mean, that is a odd matchup. You know Jericho's on the downside of his career and having fewer matches and using his ability on as a promoter and voice on commentary, things like that. And his days of 5-star matches are pretty much behind him. Um, so it does seem like an odd matchup for me. I'm interested. Want to see how it will play out, but this is definitely be a lot more of a slower paced match than the one he had with Kenny,
Oh, yeah.
the Osprey, that is. And I don't know what the deal is, why they couldn't set up Omega and Osprey 3, but maybe they're saving that for the next one or whatever. And this has something to do with the family, the Don Callis family thing. Most likely, what I don't know, but yeah, I'm still deciding if I like it or not. But
Yeah, it could have Jericho maybe, fighting for Callis, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know when. Maybe we won't get Osprey and because I don't know. Like Full Gear would be the next because we have All In and All Out back to back. That's a lot. Unless you, I don't know if you want to do Osprey and Omega right after a week later. Do you in Chicago? I mean, it works, but and Osprey could probably go, but I don't know. That'd be a lot to do. Trying to get two kind of storylines going for Osprey, I think, would be a lot.
yeah, it's a good idea to showcase him.
Yeah.
Definitely after that match he had with Kenny.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want to do it on the right stages and get the most eyeballs on him.
Could wait.
So.
And Full Gear would be in November-ish, and then we're right back to Revolution and Double or Nothing. I mean, maybe we could wait till Double or Nothing, kind of let it play out. See wherever each guy's at. Gives you plenty of time to have the guys separated from each other too, Craig.
Yeah, and that's the problem. We haven't done enough or anything with Kenny and Osprey since that match. So you're going to need to rekindle it and show it to the people and let that fervor build up before they have that next match.
Exactly.
Instead of just having, here was one and now here's the other one with no connection between the two. So
exactly. And who knows what Osprey's ultimate, contract, what does he want to do? Where will he be? I feel like it's going to be AEW. I mean, they're Ring of Honor tag team champions. I think they just won that last week. So you got to believe they're in the fold soon for United Empire to be there. The other news, this was kind of talking about the blood and guts. It was interesting because there was supposed to be a handshake between the teams, Greg, and they ran out of time because I think they showed it on their, after the match AEW stuff, and then also, there's supposed to be a big moment for Hangman Page because like we said, I feel like there was moments, but I don't think there was anybody who came out totally, better because of it. Does that make sense? It didn't feel like anybody had any huge moments, Greg. So maybe the timing just fell off, and I don't know, showing the handshake would have really done anything. But they did show that on their social platforms afterwards. So any kind of final thoughts on the blood and guts match? And then we'll get some collision talk from last week.
Yeah, the handshake thing doesn't sound like a reasonable conclusion. We know this was the end of the rivalry pretty much. But why would they shake hands? Because, you just pulverized Moxley and handcuffed him to the rope and bloody Yuta with the thumbtack shoe.
Yeah.
And who knows what they did to Claudio to wipe him out. But now there's 5 of them and 3 of you, and you're going to stand up there and shake hands with all of them. Doesn't make sense. Pretty much goes counter to what everything we just watched with that match for like 40 minutes. So, we're going to let that be the end of it, and without having any sportsmanship involved. There's never been any sportsmanship involved from the beginning. So I think they just stayed true to form and had it end the way it is. And to do the handshake thing would have been counterproductive. So I'm glad they didn't.
Some collision notes from last week. How about CM Punk and Ricky Starks? It looks like we're going to get a legit feud for them, Greg. And we even saw Christian Cage and Ricky Starks versus CM Punk and Darby Allin. Very random, pairing of tag team partners, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Starks picks up the win, obviously, with Christian Cage because, we're wanting Starks to get the better of this feud. Ultimately, I would think, with CM Punk. Does CM Punk need to go heel, full out heel in this feud?
I think it does.
Yeah.
Because, they're not going to do it, hate on Ricky.
Yeah.
And I think we've been expecting Punk to go heel anyway. And he's been, playing at it, little by little, each week anyway. So I think it's coming. It's just that moment where he's, undoubtedly heel has not happened yet. But in a rivalry at Starks, that could definitely do it.
Bullet Club Gold pick up a win. Miro picks up a win. Taya picks up a win. What about Billy Gunn? Is this ultimately the end of the line and he's going to crawl back to WWE, Greg, for a job?
I hope so. I hope so. Alice or Malachi kicked some sense into him. Yeah. And, that was it. He lost the Acclaimed another trios match and took the boots off and left the boots in the ring. And, I was clapping not because I was sentimental for him, but because I was like, it's way past time for you to do that. Because
his wife's been posting social media of him like he's at her work or something, and then there's another picture of him just sitting with the dog. So yeah, I think the time has come to move on. The Acclaimed got over Greg, with him, and now it's time for them to kind of do their own thing. So how about Dynamite? It was I don't know. It's just a weird episode in that I feel like the biggest thing, Greg, is AR Fox turning heel. And if that's their biggest thing on Dynamite, I don't know if it's a very big episode, right?
True. And joining with Swerve and already gave the backstory.
I will give him that. Like AR Fox needed something different.
Yeah, he totally did. I mean, no more shout outs to Tubi because they took Lucha Underground off their programming. So we cannot see Lucha Underground anymore for free. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn to YouTube next, see if it's still on there. But I cited that match he had with Swerve in Lucha Underground as one of my favorite matches ever. Okay. Regardless of company, regardless of when. Yeah. I believe it was on season 3.
Yeah. And who
3
was,
or 4.
So Swerve Strickland was his character Killshot, right?
Yeah, he was Killshot.
AR Fox did he have a character or was he just?
No, his name was Dante Fox in Lucha Underground, and the backstory was something like he was the commanding officer in the same unit where Swerve was the sniper, hence Killshot. Okay. And Fox left Swerve behind.
For dead?
Yeah. Oh, and that's the reason they had a match, and they call it the Price of War match or something along those lines. Yeah. But it was an amazing match. It was brutal, and it was bloody, and it was fantastic. Okay. And it's still one of my favorite matches.
Did Fox have a mask or not?
No.
Okay. I guess not everybody did, but there was a lot of people that did that, like Swerve. Like I didn't realize he was Killshot for a while.
Yeah. So thinking back to that, that's like to see them on the same side, because remember when AR Fox came in, one of his first matches was against Swerve, and they actually mentioned that match from Lucha Underground during the show. Yeah. So to see him on the same side is going to be another killer tag team. So I'm excited about that.
Much needed.
But yeah, and Fox needed it. I mean, he joined up with Top Flight, and that didn't go anywhere because one of the Top Flight brothers keeps getting injured. And now at the Mogul Embassy, it makes more sense for his character, and maybe he'll get some mic time and some more screen time. So I like what they're doing. Yeah.
Are we liking Jack Perry and Jerry Lynn? Because here's my thing. Yeah, he called out ECW, but it's all about Taz. Why is Jerry Lynn coming out? Which I understand because Taz can't wrestle. I didn't even think Jerry Lynn could still wrestle. It looks like we're going to get a Jerry Lynn match, so aren't we, Greg?
That's what it looks like, and I hope not, because this smells like the Randy Orton Legend Killer era when he was, beating up the 60-year-olds, and they've got osteoporosis, and one bad body slam could break him in half, and that's what it looks like with Jerry Lynn. But maybe that's what they're thinking, is that he beats up Jerry Lynn so bad that somebody from the recent past is going to come out, and Hook's still around here somewhere.
He's on a train.
I'm surprised he didn't come out.
Remember, he's on a train. He's got to go back to wherever he's going, Greg.
Yep. That was an odd segment, but I expected the train disappeared and there would be Jack Perry sitting there holding his belt.
Yeah,
that's what I thought that was going, but it didn't. But yeah, I think somebody from with ECW ties that's more recent is going to end up turning into this story. But I like what Jack Perry's doing, and the fact they actually put the belt on him to get that heat. And you mentioned the whole Medusa dropping the belt into the trash can moment.
Right?
Put it in the trash can, bury it, or throw it into the lake. The way that
Stone Cold move.
Yeah.
I think that needs to be the final kind of curtain, and then Taz can have it back, put it on his mantle, and never comes back. But it does look like we're going to get Chris Jericho and Takeshita, teaming up, Greg, against Daniel Garcia and Sammy Guevara, and we also had we did have the little backstage segment where Anna Jay was finally acknowledged, Greg, and Ty, with her belly showing, Greg, nice little crop top she had on. I'm guessing that baby's going to drop in the next couple months or so. She was looking quite far along, Greg. So this feels like a Garcia and Guevara win, and then Jericho just takes them out to join the family, right?
Yeah, I think so. Then the whole rest of the JAS is going to dissolve and go their separate ways, and one less faction in AEW.
Could we put Anna Jay in like a Rhea Ripley type role? Not totally like not like a dominant, but could she take the role of a leader for Matt Menard and Angelo Parker?
Yeah, I can see her being that type of role, and kind of like the valet back in the old days.
Yeah.
For the tag team, that would make sense. Yeah,
I feel like that's the best. She's okay. She's good in the ring, but there's nothing really. She got the lights out match with her and Ty. So we'll see. The Bastard pick up the win, Greg, over Brandito's brother. A lot of brothers, isn't it? Like Ray Phoenix and Penta. Now we have Bandito and Gravity as brothers. I didn't realize that. I forgot if it was on it was on commentary. I remember somebody calling out, the man, Gravity forgot. You had to say that at some point. So, I think Pax is going to kind of be his own man, Greg, it looks like, right?
Yeah, he always has been, so he's better that way anyway. So, love Pac, and, I hope he ends up doing something big. He needs to have a title of some sort with him. I don't know if the Intercontinental is the way yet, but if you're going to pass it off, I think that would be a great successor for what everything Orange has been doing.
Yeah. He didn't win that All Atlantic title, did he? He's only been the trios champion, or he was trios champion? No, I guess he hasn't won any titles, has he? Now that I think about it.
I was thinking he was the
Or was he the first?
first winner.
Yeah, he was the first. Sorry. Okay, never mind. Was he trios champion with Penta and Ray Phoenix too? I felt like. Maybe not.
I want to say yes, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I'd have to look that up. But we did talk about Swerve Strickland, with AR Fox. Any takeaway, Greg, from Britt Baker and are we still calling her your girl, Taya? And what was that entrance like? So now she's going for like a ringmaster, Cirque Soleil gimmick, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing these days. That was kind of hard to watch.
That
I
was
still
like
love
a
Taya,
slow
but
motion, obviously they had plenty of time to work, right? So I don't know what they didn't need to rush them. They could have rushed some things, Greg, and it felt like once they missed that one move, they just kind of, I think they lost the confidence, it felt like.
yeah, that match was hard on the eyes, and I was watching it. I wanted it to be great, and love Brett and love Taya, and that was a train wreck.
Yeah.
And I felt bad for both of them, and maybe they'll get another shot down the road to make it up. But
Well, this is where,
yeah,
and I know Britt Baker's taking a shot at NXT for a performance center, but I mean, this shows why you have that, Greg. How often do we see a stinker of a match, in the women's division in NXT or the main roster? Like, you might see like a quick match, but you don't see, I feel like we don't see something like this. There's missed moments, yes, but I mean, this thing just, you'd almost need to, you need to make it a GIF to get through it just so you could have to watch it. But and Lucha Brothers picked up a win. It looks like we're getting Moxley and Orange Cassidy, Greg, for the title. Or do you think even Moxley gives an F about the title and just wants to beat up Orange Cassidy?
yeah, I think he just wants to beat up Orange.
Yeah.
So this is a match that I didn't think about that I would love to see. Moxley and Orange, two total different sides of the spectrum, and make it a title match so we can see how Orange is going to do this one. So
I can't think if they've had many run-ins either, like one-on-one.
No, they really haven't. I mean, I can't think of any situation where Mox and Orange have faced each other unless it was when Orange was a full-fledged member of Best Friends, and maybe they have had something to do with Moxley and a partner or whatever.
That wrestling database is really good because you can look up, all the history matches of somebody. Too bad you couldn't type in two names and see if they fought, but I just feel like they never had a one-on-one. So that, like you said, I mean, almost put the title on the line so you could see how Orange would, pull that off. So.
Yeah, but this version of Mox against Orange is going to be amazing. Now that we've seen him just find ways to keep winning, and this is like the ultimate test, like the final boss level.
He might need to, like I said, I think him retiring the title, Greg, is a perfect way for him to just end his title reign. Just like setting it down somewhere and be like, I'm done. So.
Leaving it in the backpack in the middle of the ring.
Yeah, just sits there. So, Brian Cage and Big Bill. They'll be our next tag team contenders. We'll see tonight with Collision who gets the better of FTR and Adam Cole and MJF. But Commander picked up a win. The Kingdom picked up a win. Sheeta picks up a win, Greg. Now she'll get a shot at Tony Storm. I saw Nyla Rose's name. So Sheeta and Tony Storm. That should be a really solid. Hopefully that gets us in the good graces of women's matches for AEW, right, Greg?
Yeah, that should definitely make up for Britt and Taya for sure. Um, but the more I look at it, it seems like Rampage is kind of like the pre-show for Collision these days.
It does feel like that, yes.
It has no star power, no firepower behind it
Because all the
as
star
much as
power
it
went
used
to
to.
Collision.
Right.
Yeah, like even like the Kingdom, like Matt Taven and Mike Bennett, like they were really solid people in ROH for years, and now they're they're kind of relegated to this. So, I mean, when you have a tag team battle royal that Brian Cage and Big Bill win, Greg, I think that's all that needs to be said about that. So,
Yeah.
how about this? So, who are we calling tonight? FTR or Cole MJF?
I was thinking with FTR because I think this is the moment where Cole or MJF is going to sabotage the whole thing, and one turns on the other. I think the bigger bet is who's going to be the one that pulls the trigger.
Yeah, I still think it's got to be Cole. I think Adam Cole, finally getting that big moment, other than when he debuted. Like I feel like he hasn't had that really big pop yet, and I think him turning on MJF, giving us the swarmy Adam Cole that I think a lot now. And I don't think you need to turn MJF necessarily babyface in a way, Greg, but I think Adam Cole turning on MJF is the bigger one.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
now the only thing is that makes Roddy Strong right all along. So do we? I don't know if we want to play that angle yet, but
well, you can. I mean, Mike, like I told you, it's like, of course I knew, dummy. And so
you can have Cole say this is all I was going to do all along, like I had to
right,
play it up.
exactly. And so, everybody hates MJF when he's not in a role like this. So once, he gets, serving of, what he's been dishing out, that people are going to love it. And Adam Cole is going to get the biggest pop in the night just for.
I mean, could we do an MJF face run?
No.
Yeah, I mean,
no,
like we've
not
talked
now
about,
for sure.
like a well-rounded character, you got to know how to play both sides.
I don't know. Do we want MJF as a baby face?
Downfall. Like, I don't think I want him as a face, but
exactly.
Yeah,
he's too great as a heel, and what?
Or not right now.
Look like?
Yeah, I mean, maybe down the road just to kind of see how he can play it up. But and does Andrade get his mask back? Since we have a mask on in a ladder match, Greg, for control of the mask, or does House of Black somehow probably help Buddy Matthews get this win?
I like that House of Black angle that they're going to burn the mask once they get it.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, for once, I'm going to bet against the House and say Andrade gets his mask back. It's a ladder match, and it's Buddy. It's not Malachi. So the window is open for him to get up there and retrieve his property, as he likes to say. So I think he'll win.
And we'll get essentially a rematch, Greg, except this time it's the Guns, and then we just get Vikingo. But I think it's all Ball Club gold to pick up a win tonight, Greg, because we got to get the Guns back, getting some wins.
Yeah, I agree. But I like the other team better. It's all about Bullet Club Gold and keeping that momentum going after that amazing match they had last week.
Yeah,
that's
the thing. I wonder how you're going to capitalize on them eventually. Because if you weren't going to put the tag team titles on them last week, Greg, well then it's going to be a little bit of time before you circle back to that. So maybe trios titles. I'm trying to think who is the trios. Oh, it's House of Black trios champion.
Right, and who are the ROH tag team champions?
I think that's the United Empire, and then the trios is the Mogul Embassy, like
okay.
Brian Cage and the two other Like I think there's two other bigger guys. So, I mean, I guess we could do that for them, but and then like we said, I think CM Punk needs to really cut a heelish promo tonight and really start defining that line for him.
Yeah, I mean, agree. He's come back. He's had his, moments in the sun, and even then, people have been lukewarm about him, and you may as well just go all the way and, go heel and
then let Ricky Starks finally get, that big rub that he's needed. So,
right. But is Stark's going to heel too, because he's
that's
taking the more the low road more
true.
often these days.
Yeah.
So
maybe they want. Yeah, that could be true. And any last call for the good of the matter? What was that? I did binge Twisted Metal, Greg. I made it all the way through. Fun fact: Samoa Joe is the actor of Sweet Tooth, Greg, but not the voice. The voice was Will Arnett, so that was a little strange for me to get used to for a second, because I was like, because Sweet Tooth has a clown mask on that's all covered. So he doesn't have to, there's no mouth. But Will Arnett did a really good job with the voice of it, I thought. So, really, and they kind of left it open for a second season. So that was kind of cool to see. I almost wanted more because they left it so open. But really cool, series there. 30-minute episodes, so it was easy to, kind of sit down and put on.
nice.
Which direction do you like, Greg? An episode to be 30 minutes or an hour?
Depends on the series.
Yeah, I guess,
Some were better, with an hour to tell the story, and some were better with 30 minutes. So, I think I've been watching more series that take an hour.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm more in favor of that, especially when it's a lot of action and a lot of,
That's true.
I don't know, violence. I like more heavy-handed stuff these days. So I'm definitely going to check it out and see what it looks like.
Yeah, you should check that out because there's a lot. And I like how they flip, because the characters obviously were all about the cars, Like I personally don't remember any of the actual characters, so it's kind of cool to see the characters fleshed out in this. And then I think they added a couple new people just to flesh out the show a little bit. So, yeah, I thought it was a really well done series, and like I said, I made it through in a day. So I think that and also caught up on What We Do in the Shadows, which is that comedy, Greg. Oh my gosh, on FX, it just does things so right. But because when comedy's done right, it's really it's a good thing. So it's not the dumb comedy. It's it's really smart, kind of the smart funny, as they say. So other than that, Colt started up camp. Jonathan Taylor, Greg, yeah, that's a fun situation with him and Jim Irsay, isn't it, for us over here? I don't know if you saw any of the back and forth between the agent of Jonathan Taylor and Jim Irsay, but it's been a lot of storylines for Sports Talks Radio here. I'll say that. So
I see they're not getting along, huh?
Yeah, and then even people showed pictures of Jonathan Taylor, and he had a very somber look because he's on the PUP list, non-injury. I think you could put guys, for a holdout, essentially, but they're making you go, stand at a workout. So it's a very, his contract's not up till next year, but, he wants a long-term deal. And I think he was part of that big running backs Zoom call, Greg. Now
put together by Austin Eckler.
Yep. Oh, you're running back.
Yep.
But the funny thing is, Greg, all this stuff that they're talking about was voted on by the players. It's a collective bargaining agreement. It's not a owners, bargaining. This is since that downfall. It's just the nature of the beast, right? I mean, just like in the NBA, if you're a big man, you're probably not going to have a very long career just because people aren't playing that position as, it's a positionless basketball anymore. So, what is Austin Eckler? Is he signed for a long-term deal?
Nope. They let him go and try to get a trade with another team.
Oh, okay.
Uh, Probably about a month passed and nobody said yes. And the Chargers gave him an extra 1.75 million in incentives.
Okay. On a year deal?
Uh, for 1 year, I think they maybe gave him like $1 million, million more dollars, something like that. But they gave him more incentives to work towards
Oh,
to kind of pacify him. And after this season, he's unrestricted free agent.
okay.
So he's going to be right back in the same boat. So he's trying to put together this running backs committee to figure out how they can take control and start getting the bags that the quarterbacks are making. And speaking of which, shout out to my dude Justin Herbert, who is officially the king of all bags as the highest paid player in the NFL with his 226 or $262 million contract.
Yeah.
With the no
those
trade
difference in numbers, Greg.
Yeah. 226 and 262 is big difference. Yeah.
That's a gold car. That's a gold-plated toilet or not gold-plated, right? No. That's a bidet, a super-powered bidet or not.
Exactly. But man got his bag. He's going to be with us through the 2029 season.
Gotta get it,
All
though.
is good.
He's got to get that title, that championship for them.
Hey, the championship comes next. He's, Charger camp. Everything is good. The core players are signed, and for once, everybody's healthy right now.
You ruined it.
Or that I probably shouldn't even have said that. So.
Look at Joe Burrow goes down non-contact injury in the calf. So
that's
right.
There
was somebody else carted off the other day. I thought was a pretty big name, but that's the or was some. I think somebody was taken out for the season, right? There was some.
That's
rookie.
right. That's right.
Who was that? Because I feel like we had it in our group chat, but
Oh, it was Nyheim Hines.
That's right. Yes.
That went to Buffalo and
non-contact. Yeah, and he was a former Colt.
Yeah, he was on a jet ski and somebody hit him while he was standing still on his jet ski. And he got hit and he's out for the year.
Not quite the kicker who he chopped his leg, hit his leg with an axe because they had the log. Was that the Jags kicker? They had a log in the locker room that they would that'd be their gimmick thing, and he misses and swings right into the leg. Now that's Or there was a baseball player. He was trying to cut open a DVD, and he had like a knife, and missed the tape of the DVD and cuts his finger. Was out for a couple months with a big stitched up finger. But definitely getting hurt on a jet ski is not something you normally think about. So, but anyway, so your Chargers. They gotta get it soon, right? Because Mahomes is still there. I don't know if the Bills are gonna get back. I think Josh Allen's got to make some leaps, right, to get the Bills, going in the right direction. So.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on at Bills camp with, guys not happy with their deals, and who knows what Diggs is doing, and
that's right, Stephon Diggs. Yeah, is he holding out? I think.
Well, I think he may be holding in.
Okay.
He has that trick knee is kicking in. He's gonna have to watch from the sideline, kind of thing. So I think that's the new trend with players. Are going to be holding in.
They're saying they're more hurt than what they're letting off.
Right.
Because that's what they
and
worry
that way
about.
They can't charge them because if they're physically there, they can't charge them for holding out. So
because I think it was like Shaq Leonard or somebody, and the Colts was hurt all along, and then he gets a contract extension. Then magically a week later, he was out on the practice field running full speed. There you
go.
It's at $262 million probably. So
it's the millennials game in the system right now. See, that's
Yep. All right. Well, we'll be back next week All Out SummerSlam. Maybe we'll do some, throwback SummerSlam questions. Kind of give our best memories of SummerSlam and give all the predictions and all that good stuff. And then week after, we'll kind of get back to reviewing stuff like we do and keep following the Superkickin It with Stephen Page for all the fun videos we've been posting. Give your fan favorite gimmick match. That was yesterday's topic of discussion. I pulled out the old ladder match for Money in the Bank. That's Hell in a Cell is a close second though. What gimmick were you going with, Greg? What is your favorite gimmick match or gimmick style?
I saw that, and my first thought was War Games.
Yeah, and so I brought that up.
Going all the way back to the original War Games, back during the NWA with the Four Horsemen, and then whatever collection of babyface characters you want to put in there with him. And then the recent incarnations, but I like the AEW version more because it's more true to form as far as being bloody and gory, and instead of WWE using it to tell the story. You see both ways of doing it, but the true spirit of War Games should be as violent can be. So I like the AEW interpretation of it better. So War Games, and then Hell in a Cell, and the multi-person ladder matches, such as Money in the Bank.
And I brought up tables, ladders, and chairs because nothing beats Hardy's, Edge and Christian, and Dudley Boys just trying to show that tag team wrestling should have been on a higher platform back in the day. So, and then of course you had the Young Bucks, carry that load through their time before AEW. So, really cool stuff there. So, So enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
Peace.